Okay, so this is our stakeholder journey basically along the way. What do you do? In the step one, you identify all the stakeholders. You don't identify some of the stakeholders, you basically identify all the stakeholders. You utilize project charter, you utilize project management plan, you utilize OPS, you utilize project documents and everything that can be available to you. You utilized all these things. I would even say when a project manager is assigned, he go to the project sponsor, he go to the major stakeholders, those stakeholders which have already been written in project charter. He identify all these stakeholders. So basically he's getting the I would say he's getting an judgment here expert judgment here. Then he gathered all the data. Then he analyzed them. How do we analyze them? We have a stakeholder matrix, that is power, interest, grid. Who has high power? Who has high interest? A person having high power, high interest is the number one stakeholder. Manage him closely. A person having high power, low interest is also a very important stakeholder. Keep him satisfied. A person having no power but high interest. He has high interest in the project. Keep him informed. He need information. Then person having no interest, no power, put them on watch list. Maybe you may need them along the way. So this is called power interest. It can also be called as power influence or interest influence. You need to make a matrix according to that. Then we have salience model, that is a model of a 3D model, power, urgency, and legitimacy. Then we have stakeholder queue, power, interest, and attitude. From exam point of view, you just need to know their name. Then stakeholder mapping and representation or stakeholder engagement metrics could be utilized here to see what is the current engagement level of the stakeholder and what is the desired engagement level of the stakeholder. You get a stakeholder register here, the most important document, one of the most important document. So you go to the planning stage with this stakeholder register. You already have the plan, you have the list of all stakeholders, you know how to communicate. So you plan their engagement here. The biggest tool that you are going to utilize here is stakeholder engagement matrix. Of course, you will use expert judgment, data gathering, analysis, decision, voting, and multi criteria. But the most important tool is to know what is the current engagement of stakeholder and what do you want as a desired engagement state. Current engagement, desired engagement. You make a plan for them. You communicate them. You make a you make ways. You make tools and technique. You make basically you find out ways how you change their current engagement level to the desired engagement level. Then comes the manage stakeholder engagement. Here, in this way, the most important key is communication. You are communicating everything to the stakeholder, utilizing active listening, utilizing feedbacks, expert judgment, meetings, knowing the political culture. Your goal here is to ensure that stakeholders are satisfied here. So, very important tool here is ground rules. Whatever you are communicating it with, you must have some ground rules. Ground rule is a subset of team charter. What are the ground rules to communicate to any person? So manage stakeholder is being done here. Then once you are done in the manage stakeholder, I would say manage stakeholder is being done all the time in execution. You're also doing monitor stakeholder engagement. You are rechecking their current engagement level with their desired engagement level. You are getting feedback. You are checking any stakeholder whose power has raised, maybe whose interest maybe have raised. As a result, his current or desired engagement level change. So you communicate them along the way. You represent them on mind mapping. You do root cause analysis if some stakeholder is not satisfied. Let's say you get a question that a stakeholder is not satisfied. Where do you do the root cause analysis? Where do you check your assumptions why they are not satisfied? You do it here in data analysis, in basic in understanding what are the need of the stakeholders. So you get obviously change request here, information, plans update. So this is the major thing about stakeholder journey. Very important thing. At any point, if a new stakeholder is identified, you go back to the step number one, that you see what is power, what is interest, what is current engagement level, what is desired engagement level. So this is stakeholder journey. Let me rephrase it in a small line. you identify stakeholder utilizing document and expert judgment. Then through power and trust git, you see where is power, where is interest. Then you manage them accordingly. And in the stakeholder engagement matrix, you see the current engagement level, desired engagement level. You make a plan according to that. Then and manage, you are communicating and ensuring that engagement level remains there. In monitoring and control, you check that current engagement level and desired engagement level is according to your requirement. And if it is not, you identify the root cause and try to resolve the problem. That is all about stakeholder journey. Master it for your PMP exam.